Welcome, one and all, back to the Dark Knight review. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll let you know what happened. Basically, Joker wants Bats to take off his mask and reveal to everyone who he really is, or else Joker will kill citizens throughout Gotham. Unfortunately, Joker has killed quite a few citizens and important figures throughout Gotham, and now it's really left to question who's the real villain here. The one who's setting up the kills, or Batman who is technically letting everybody die. I guess we will continue this Dark Knight review and see what kind of mayhem the Joker has in store for us next. And if Batman can truly save the citizens of Gotham once again. Bruce meets up with Rachel at his place and she brings up a very valid point. Just revealing himself as Batman won't just stop the Joker killings altogether.
You honestly think that's gonna keep the Joker from killing people?
Maybe not, but I have enough blood on my hands. And I've seen now what I would have to become to stop men like him.
At the press conference, Harvey tries to be motivating to the citizens of Gotham by being all like, "Alright, all ya Gotham turd nuggets, listen up. We got a clown that's killing all of our citizens. Do we just give up and give into his demands? Or do we stand up for what's right in this dark, depressing, expensive city?"
Than the lives of citizens?
The Batman is an outlaw. But that's not why we're demanding he turn himself in. We're doing it because we're scared. We've been happy to let the Batman clean up our streets for us until now.
Things are worse than ever.
And in an interesting set of events,
Take the Batman into custody. I am the Batman.
Rachel's not the least bit happy about Bruce just letting Harvey take the blame and not doing anything about it. Rachel's about to leave Bruce's place, which is probably the stupidest thing she could do right now, but she gives Alfred a letter to give to Bruce. And this is a letter only to be given to him when the time is right. Whatever that means. So now the police are transporting Dent to another cell across the city. So on the way to the other cell, they get some unwanted company. The Joker is gonna try to kill the police and Dent in a big rig, and this scene gets pretty intense.
These things are built for that, right?
He's gonna need something a lot bigger to get through this.
What is that? What is that, a bazooka?
But not all hope is lost as Batman stops by to try and save the day. Or night.
Look out. Look out!
In this whole crash, the rig driver dies, and now it's Joker's turn to take the wheel, and the action in the scene just keeps magnifying.
We gotta get topside. We need air support now. I like this job. I like it.
With the Batmobile totaled, Bats unlatches a motorcycle from it and speeds off in that.
Goodbye.
The police try to get air support, but that doesn't quite go as planned.
Okay, rack 'em up, rack 'em up, rack 'em up, rack 'em up.
That's not good. Okay, that's not good.
But Bats has another plan to stop him. And the truck.
Ooh, you wanna play? Come on. Come on.
He missed!
Bazinga.
Joker makes himself a wide open target to see if Bats will actually hit him or not.
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me.
Dork.
But it looks like this is finally the end of Batman. The Dark Knight Rises doesn't exist. It was just all in your mind. And never mind, the Joker gets stopped. By who?
Would you please just give me a minute?
We got you, you son of a bitch.
That's right! Gordon faked his own death. That was kind of him. And now the Joker is sent to jail. So now everyone realizes that Dent is not actually Bats, and he gets a ride to go on a date with Rachel. And then we cut to the Joker in prison. With everything that Gordon has done, he gets heavily rewarded.
Tomorrow you take the big job. You don't have any say in the matter, Commissioner Gordon.
Something important to note in this scene is that a fat guy gets thrown into the same cell as Joker, and he's constantly in pain and is worrisome. But as usual, the cops aren't going to believe a criminal. So Gordon gets an emergency call to go down to the holding cell where Joker is and interrogate him.
Harvey Dent never made it home. What have you done with him?
Me? I was right here. Who did you leave him with? Your people? Assuming, of course, that they are still your people, and not Maroney's. Does it make you feel responsible for Harvey Dent's current predicament?
Where is he?
What's the time?
What difference does that make?
Well, depending on the time, he may be in one spot or several.
But Gordon's not the only person who's gonna interrogate him. And you know, this scene oddly goes from a serious, intense interrogation to a nice, pleasant conversation.
You're garbage. You kills for money.
Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Even if you'd like to be. To them, you're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster.
But that doesn't last long, and Bats really needs the answer as to where Dent is. And this honestly shows how sadistic the Joker really is. No matter how much or hard he gets thrown around and beaten up, he just laughs and taunts all the way through, showing no signs that he is in pain, if he even is in pain.
What does Harvey know about you and his little bully?
Where are they? Killing is making a choice.
Where are they? Choose between one life or the other. Your friend, the district attorney, or his blushing bride to be. You have nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all your strength. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you where they are. Both of them. And that's the point. You'll have to choose. He's at 250 52nd Street, and she's on Avenue X. That's just it.
So now Bats, Gordon, and the other police forces head out as fast as they can to save both Dent and Rachel. Bats is heading up to where Rachel is, and the police are headed for Dent. But what happened to them both? Harvey and Rachel got tied to a chair in a room full of oil drums, and Bats and the other police have mere minutes to save them. But while Bats is racing off to save Rachel, we cut back and forth to Joker at the cell wanting his phone call. But at the same time, taunting this cop.
Do you want to know why I use a knife? Guns are too quick. You can't savor all the emotions. In their last moments, people show you who they really are. So, in a way, I knew your friends better than you ever did. Would you like to know which of them were cowards?
I know you're gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna have to try and enjoy it even more.
Drop the weapon now! It's my own daddy's fault! Just shoot up! Let him go now! Drop it on the floor now! Drop the weapon!
Sorry?
What do you want?
I just want my phone call.
And why does Joker want to make his phone call so badly?
Is that a phone?
Yep, Joker put an exploding phone in the fat guy, and this causes the Joker to escape the prison. And Bats makes it to one of the warehouses, but the Joker actually tricked and lied to him as to which warehouse Rachel was in. So, Bats unintentionally saves Dent.
Rachel!
Harvey, it's okay. It's all right. Listen. Someone... No, come on.
Rachel!
Rachel has died, and Harvey has half of his face burned. Then we cut to Joker, who has found Lau in his cell. We also find out that it was Joker's plan from the beginning to have him locked up in a cell, just so that he could get to Lau easier.
The Joker planned to be caught. He wanted me to lock him up in the MCU.
He's a credible source, an M&A lawyer from a prestigious consultancy, and he says he's waited as long as he can for the Batman to do the right thing.
Hello. I'd like to play a game with you. Up until now, you just sat there.
And now he's taking matters into his own hands. We'll be live at 5 with the true identity of the Batman.
Gordon visits Dent in the hospital after Harvey's little explosive accident. And it seems like his attitude has changed a bit.
Remember that name you all had for me when I was at Internal Affairs?
Harvey.
Say it.
Say it!
Two-Face. Harvey Two-Face.
Why should I hide who I am?
So yeah, this is one of Batman's, I assume, to be most popular villains, Two-Face. Now we actually get some more screen time with Maroni. Not for very long, but you know what? Better late than never, I guess. He knows where Joker will be and informs Gordon. We also cut to another location where Joker is with Chechen and the rest of the mob with the money. Oh yeah, remember that plot point from about an hour ago that led absolutely nowhere? Well, here it is in case you missed it. Joker burns his half of the money along with possibly Lau because we don't see him anymore after this scene, and Lau is at the top of the stack before Joker burned it. He's in control of the mob, and he calls up the news station to deliver a little message throughout Gotham that he will blow up a hospital if a certain person does not die in an hour.
Let's give someone else a chance. If Coleman Reese isn't dead in 60 minutes, then I blow up a hospital.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot to bring up this guy. It's not really that I forgot to, it's that I didn't know what was so important about him. He appeared in maybe 2 scenes prior to this one. He just seems like he's jealous that Bruce Wayne is rich and he doesn't have to do much to, like, get what he wants. But I guess he's important enough for Joker to want to kill him in an hour. Or at least want him dead in an hour, otherwise he'll blow up a hospital. So now, because they're threatened by the Joker, the citizens are now trying to kill Reese. Bruce speeds off in his $10 million car. There is a huge evacuation of every hospital in Gotham, and if that wasn't enough...
Man, we're gonna have to move him now.
Joker disguises himself as a nurse. He has a chat with Harvey and tries to get on his good side, but also doing his typical taunting at the same time.
When you and Rachel were being abducted, I was sitting in Gordon's cage. You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things. The mob has plans. The cops have plans. Gordon's got plans. You know, they're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are. When I say that you and your girlfriend was nothing personal, you know that I'm telling the truth. Introduce a little anarchy.
Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
You live. You die.
Now we're talking.
But the chat's over, Reese hasn't died, so Joker's gotta keep his promise. Fun fact about this scene, this is not an act. This is a genuine reaction from Heath Ledger. The bombs were supposed to be continuing to explode, but they actually had an unplanned delay, and Ledger just kept rolling with it, and stayed in character. In this scene, we get another appearance with Dent, who has located one of the guys that was supposed to transport Rachel to her and Harvey's date location. As the character of Two-Face, his vengeful side takes over and uses his coin to decide whether this guy lives or dies.
Are you telling me that you're gonna protect the other traitor in Gordon's unit?
I don't know. He never told me. Listen, Dent, I swear to God, I didn't know what they were gonna do to you.
That's funny. Because I don't know what's gonna happen to you either.
Beautiful.
Bruce has a plan to track the Joker better, but to do that, he's gonna have to do something pretty illegal. Turn every cell phone in Gotham into a camera/microphone. This is something that Fox did earlier in the Hong Kong scene to help Bruce get to Lau back to Gotham, except it was only one phone at the time. If Joker is close enough, Fox was able to inform Bruce as to where he is. So now we cut to Maroni, except this time, Two-Face snuck in his car. This whole Dent versus Maroni thing started off in a courtroom, but now it's time to see if it ends in Maroni's own car.
Imagine what it would be like to listen to her die.
Look, take it up with the Joker. He killed your woman. He made you like this.
The Joker's just a mad dog. I want whoever let him off the leash. I took care of Words. But who's your other man inside Gordon's unit? Who picked up Rachel? Must have been someone she trusted.
Look, if I tell you, you let me go.
Can't hurt your chances.
It was Ramirez. But you said...
I said it couldn't hurt your chances. You're a lucky man. He's not. Who? Your driver.
So now we are in probably the longest climax in any movie, where two fairies are evacuating the citizens of Gotham to another place. One is filled with innocent citizens, and the other is filled with criminals that Harvey locked up. One of the ferry workers checks the engine room to find more oil drums. And yes, the Joker has rigged oil drums to both ferries. He hacks his way into the intercom and does his thing.
Tonight you're all going to be a part of a social experiment. I'm ready right now to blow you all sky high. Anyone attempts to get off their boat, you all die. Each of you has a remote. Blow up the other boat. At midnight, I blow you all up. If, however, one of you presses the button, I'll let that boat live. So, who's it gonna be? Harvey Dent's most wanted scumbag collection, or the sweet and innocent civilians? You choose. Oh, and you might want to decide quickly, because the people on the other boat may not be quite so noble.
Also, Ramirez, who's the lady that's often been tagged with Gordon, is one of the causes of him and Rachel getting tied up in the warehouses, because she knew that the drivers were going to those locations. To get some revenge, she is forced by Two-Face, and yes, I'm going to on and off call him Dent and Two-Face, to call Gordon's wife and have her and their children drive to meet up in another location. The innocent citizens are taking a vote whether or not to blow up the other ferry, and the one with the criminals just has them yelling and going crazy. Gordon gets a call on his cell phone from his wife that they have been captured, and Two-Face makes Gordon meet up where Dent's family died. I just gotta say, on a bit of a side note, that the ferry portion of this scene may be long, but it is very suspenseful and intense, and I just love it. So after beating up a bunch of Joker's allies in this building, Bats finally makes it to the top floor, where the Joker is. Bats and Joker have their last fight scene together, while we cut back and forth between them and the fairies.
Don't get
And both fairies have mere minutes to make a decision, or else they both get blown up.
I took it by force. Give it to me, and I'll do what you should have did 10 minutes ago.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
They can't even do it, and neither ship gets blown up, so the Joker tries to blow up the ships himself.
Can't rely on anyone these days. You gotta do everything yourself. Don't we? That's okay. I came prepared. It's a funny world we live in. Speaking of which, you know how I got these scars?
No, but I know how you got these.
But even Batman can't kill the mass-murdering Joker, who has basically caused Batman to kill several other people. And while I don't necessarily like playing scenes out in long sections without being cut up, I feel like this time it should be an exception, because this is literally the last time we see the Joker in this movie. And on top of that, Heath Ledger in any performance.
Truly are.
At least performances that are new.
You just couldn't let me go, could you? This is what happens
when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. You truly are incorruptible, aren't you? Huh? You won't kill me out of some misplaced sense of self-righteousness. And I won't kill you because you're just too much fun. I think you and I are destined to do this forever. You'll be in a better jail forever. Maybe we could share one. You know, they'll be doubling up the rate this city's inhabitants are losing their minds.
This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good.
Until their spirit breaks completely. Until they get a good look at the real Harvey Dent. Huh? And all the heroic things he's done. You didn't think I'd risk losing the battle for Gotham's soul in a fistfight with you. No. You need an ace in the hole. Mine's Harvey.
What did you do?
I took Gotham's White Knight, and I brought him down to our level. It wasn't hard. See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
So now Gordon and Dent meet up, and for how much they have argued in the movie prior to this, it will be an even worse conversation with these two.
After your men handed her over, this is where she died.
I know I was here. Trying to save her.
But you didn't.
I couldn't.
Yes, you could have. If you'd have listened to me. If you stood up against corruption. Instead of doing your deal with the devil.
I was trying to fight the mob!
You wouldn't dare try to justify yourself if you knew what I'd lost.
Since Gordon couldn't save Rachel in time, he is gonna threaten to kill one of his family for revenge.
Put the gun down, Harvey, put down the gun. Please, Harvey. Please. God damn it, will you stop pointing that gun at my family?
No!
We have a winner.
No, Jim, stop it!
Harvey!
Don't let him.
Harvey! I'm sorry! For everything!
But luckily, Bat shows up in time to try to talk some sense into him. And I'm not kidding here, this is where Batman's voice really annoys me. Because Harvey's about to shoot Gordon's son, and he has to do that voice, which honestly ruins most of the mood the scene is trying to go for.
It's got the same chance she had. 50-50.
What happened to Rachel wasn't chance. We decided to act. We three.
Then why was it me who was the only one who lost everything?
It wasn't.
The Joker chose me!
Because you were the best of us.
You first. My turn.
Harvey, you're right. Rachel's death was my fault. Please don't punish the boy. Please punish me.
I'm about to. Tell your boy it's gonna be all right, Gordon. Lie. Like I lied.
It's going to be all right, son.
Bats tackles Harvey off the side and manages to grab Gordon's son, but not Harvey himself. And in the end, both Rachel Dawes, which is the first time that I said her last name, and Harvey Dent are now dead. Bats takes all the blame for everyone that died, and Gordon does an epic monologue to close us out.
Why is he running, Dad?
Because he's the hero Gotham deserves. But not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him, because he can take it. Because he's not our hero. He's a silent guardian. A watchful protector. A dark knight.
Oh, so all of that was just a prologue? So now the movie actually begins? No, this is sort of the thing to do in the Dark Knight trilogy, is to have the title appear right after the movie. That may be stupid, but then again, Lemony Snicket's title didn't appear until about 2 minutes and 40 seconds into its credits. And I'm not even kidding. But at long last, this is where the Dark Knight finally ends. Gonna try to wrap this up as fast as I can, so let's head on over to what I find to be the pros and cons of the movie. This time, however, I'm gonna start with cons, because there is something that will be in the pros section, and you all should know one thing that is, and I want that to be the last thing that I talk about, because I have a lot to talk about that particular thing. So let's get started with cons, or at least in my opinion, what the cons are. Batman himself. Now, if you've seen my other reviews, then you know every movie I reviewed prior to this, I've put the main character in the pros section. Jurassic Park 3 had Dr. Grant, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl had Jack Sparrow, Ghostbusters had the Ghostbusters, Holes had Stan Lee, who counts as one of the boys of D10, Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events had Violet and Klaus, and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone had Harry. Twister doesn't really count because it didn't have a pros and cons section, but had I thought to do that back then, Joe and Bill would have definitely been in the con section. So why do I find Batman, the main character, to be a con in this movie? Some people had an issue with the costume, but for me personally, everybody makes fun of it, but the main problem with Batman is his voice. Batman shouldn't sound like he's trying to give himself a sore throat just to disguise his voice. All the other Batmen didn't need to go to this extreme of disguising their voices. When he talks in this movie, he sucks the mood out of whatever scene he was in. Especially in that last scene. For as serious that Two-Face was taking things, that is not the time to pull a Batman voice like that. And the annoying thing is, he does this every single time he's in the suit, even if he's talking to one person who knows who he is.
We've turned every cell phone in Gotham into a microphone.
And a high-frequency generator receiver.
Lucius Fox knows Bruce is Batman, but he still talks like that. Now, Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne himself isn't awful by any means. At least, I don't think he's awful when he's just Bruce Wayne. But man, when he's Batman, he is either laughable or cringy. Or makes you mad because he sucks the mood out of every scene he's in. I'm sorry if you liked her, but Rachel. It sucks that she died, don't get me wrong. But, my God, is she boring! She almost always has that same expression, always has the same monotonic voice, even when she sees the Joker for the first time in person.
I hated my father.
Okay, stop.
Well, hello, beautiful. You must be Harvey's squeeze.
She's also just not fun. All she really is just sort of that person that gives advice or tries to talk sense into someone. But other than the scene of her dying and her getting, like, dropped out the window, there's not really any scene that anybody could say, oh yeah, I remember when she did that. That was a really awesome scene that she was in. Again, I apologize if you liked her and she was one of your favorite characters, but she just didn't do it for me. All of those pointless characters. Now, I'm not talking about the regular citizens like the ones on the ferry. I mean the ones that seemed like they were going to be a big deal, but weren't. Maroni was pretty pointless, though he has, I'm pretty sure, more screen time than most of the other pointless characters. But I mean, you only see him in the court scene, that meeting with the mob, that scene where Gordon arrests all of them. that 1 or 2 lines he gave in the hospital, and that last scene in the car. Gamble was pretty pointless as well. He preferred to have the friggin' Joker alive, and what did he do when the Joker was brought to him technically alive? Nothing! He just stood there letting Joker say his awesome Scars story. Honestly, I thought it was going to be kind of interesting. He looked like he had some kind of history with the Joker, but nothing happens with that. He gets mad at Joker, threatens him, says he's going to teach him manners himself if he's brought to him alive, and does nothing about it. Chechen was just in it for money and customers, I guess. There weren't any memorable scenes with him. Hell, his name isn't even mentioned in the movie, to my knowledge. The Scarecrow, as I mentioned in part 1, is one of Batman's best villains. But his only appearance is in the very beginning. I mean, after he says this,
not my diagnosis,
we never see him again. I mean, I guess the point of that scene was to show us that there are people around Gotham trying to dress up as Batman and like do his work for him. But why do you gotta include the Scarecrow in like a no longer than 5 to 6 minute scene? I guess you could say fan service, but you're not doing it very well. And just go play Arkham Knights when it comes out. Or if it is out currently. That game is primarily focused on Scarecrow as the villain. Then there's the judge that Joker killed, who was only in 1 scene before she died. The original commissioner before Gordon was. Then there's Lau, and there's so many more characters that are pointless in the movie. And I really only scratched the surface with the ones that I mentioned here. All the pointless scenes. As far as the scenes go, so many could have been taken out to shorten the runtime of the movie. Believe it or not, it's actually a little bit shorter than the Sorcerer's Stone, but it certainly doesn't feel like it. The Hong Kong scene, I feel, didn't need to happen. Lau escaped Gotham, just have Batman go there to take him back to Gotham. I mean, I'm pretty sure the only point of that scene was to sort of get a hint at that plan of turning a cell phone into a microphone/camera so Batman could turn off the electricity in Lau's building. But keep in mind, you gotta wait like another hour or hour and a half until that plot point comes back again. I mean, by the time you get to that scene where Lucius Fox is helping Bruce track the Joker via everybody's cell phones in Gotham, you most likely would have forgotten about it by that point. I did. The whole Joker in jail scene, while it was cool, and we did get some actual conversation with the Joker, which is what I like, they could have easily had him walk through the front door or something if he just wanted to get Lau. I really feel like if they just wanted to get a long conversation out of Joker, they could have done it a little bit better than like making him purposefully wanting to get arrested just to be in jail for half an hour, just to escape again, just to go back to what he was doing before he got arrested. That court scene at the very beginning I didn't think was necessary unless their only purpose was to get us introduced to Dent, Rachel, and Maroni in this scene. And finally, the money plot point. I mean, remember, the very first scene in the movie is a bank heist. From then until about when the Joker killed the Batman imposter, it was all about money, which is uninteresting. Now, Joker killing people until Batman takes off his mask, there's your plot. Roll with that. Don't give us a 40-minute plot that doesn't lead anywhere. And yes, I double-checked, it's about the 40-minute mark when the news shows that footage of the Joker killing the Batman imposter and making that threat. This may seem like a nitpick, but honestly, this is one of many people's problems with this movie because it feels like it's 3 hours long by the time we get to the title screen. What cons do you think were in The Dark Knight that weren't listed here? Mention in the comments below. I'm interested to find out. Now, let's actually look at the positive side of this movie, starting with Harvey Dent. He's entertaining to watch, he doesn't look like he's just acting, and he knows when to change his emotion. And he does those emotions very well. His speech is very fluent and natural sounding. It's a shame, though, that they introduce to and kill him in the same movie. I really would have liked to see him carry on to Dark Knight Rises to see what he would do there. And then maybe turn into Two-Face and possibly die in that. Gordon's great as well. He's basically got the same principles that Harvey has. grabbing the audience's attention, and I just really love his attitude. He's always keeping a positive view on things, and even though he has sort of a monotonic voice, and that's something that I didn't like about Rachel, it works with Gary Oldman. I mean, he never loses focus on what he's trying to do. All he wants is straightforward answers. He's never over the top like some of the other characters that he's played in previous movies. He keeps a steady head on his shoulders, and he has, in my opinion, very good chemistry with Dent. The action scenes. As stated in part 1, some people had an issue with Batman Begins because of blurry vision and shaky cam in the action scenes. Well, if you didn't like them in that movie, you'll like them in this one. The camera is steady enough to where you can see all the action, and there is a nice balance between action scenes and conversation. My favorite action scene has to be the car chase. It just has you on the edge of your seat when you watch it in full. The cinematography and effects is just really awesome to look at. And finally, you all saw this coming from a mile away, the Joker. It should come to no surprise that he is one of my favorite villains of all time. I know there are other Jokers and they do well in their own aspects, but Heath Ledger's Joker performance is by far my favorite. One of the interesting things is that we know nothing about his past. Now, everyone has had a common misconception that the very first Scars story he says to Gamble is his backstory. Now, whether that's what everybody thinks is right or wants to believe it's right, we don't know if it's right. The Joker's a complete mystery. Mainly because he says a completely different story to Rachel later on. The first story was he got his scars because his father had a knife. In the second one, he says he cut his own mouth because his wife wanted him to smile more. So he used a razor to cut his mouth to make it look like he was smiling all the time. The reason why the first one was so popular though is because of that awesome line,
"Why so serious?"
I mean, think about it. He never says it for the rest of the movie. He just says it 3 times in this one scene, but it made a long-lasting impact. I like villains that don't have very clear backgrounds, as long as it's done well. Joker also knows what certain people want, and he is really good at taunting people and trying to be cunning with them by acting innocent.
Me? I was right here. Who did you leave it with?
He has a nice balance of having funny moments.
You think you can steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah.
And scary moments.
Oh, and every day he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the Joker, I don't think I would have liked this movie nearly as much. Because I'm not the biggest Batman fan in the world. I didn't see this in theaters because I'm not that big of a fan. I first saw this movie in a TV production class back in like 2010. That's roughly 2 years after the movie came out in theaters. And when I saw the Joker for the first time, in that first scene, I was immediately hooked and kept on wanting to see him on screen more. That's when you know you've made a character correctly, when you get the audience wanting to see you more. But to get to the end of Joker's spotlight, and for more of a serious talk, it really saddens me that Heath Ledger passed away before the film was completed. I really wanted to know how Dark Knight Rises would have been if Ledger was still around, but I guess we can only assume what would have happened. May Heath Ledger rest in peace, and for the last time that I'll say in this video, he played, in my opinion, the best Joker of all time. He was great, he was menacing, he was funny, he was just an all-around memorable villain. But with that said, I can't be completely biased to that to give this movie a perfect score. So, for the verdict for The Dark Knight, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Yes, while Joker is awesome, the action scenes are cool, and there is some very memorable supporting cast, even they can't quite make this movie perfect. If Bats had just used a normal voice instead of this one, and maybe cut out a lot of the pointless scenes, the movie would have been a whole lot better, and possibly deserving of a perfect score. But again, that doesn't mean the movie is terrible by any means. It just had a few things that held it back. I would definitely recommend this movie to people who are just looking for a good time, like solid action and awesome villains. However, I don't really recommend this movie to people who really want to see Batman himself, because you might be disappointed.